This is News 8 Now, this morning.
The hardware store had, I think, 6 or 7 apartments in it. So, of course, all the people that live in those apartments are people that we all know and live with here in this community. So it's a tragedy for them losing everything.
They can, withstand the cold temperatures. Huskies are double coated, but it's that wind that can still cause frostbite. If it's too cold for us, it's too cold for them.
We don't have any control of over the weather, so we do what we can.
It's amazing how far people travel to come to Rotary Lights to see the displays and to visit with me. And the other night, I had a family came all the way from Japan.
And that was your eye-opener. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for watching News 8 Now this morning. I'm Ken Kozarowski. Eric Dean is joining us this morning on this Friday, December 23rd, 2022. And just looking at the model behind Eric, a lot of warnings and watches and advisories all week long. Of course, this winter storm system, it's not a one and done. It's been pretty much a week-long thing, and it is very cold out there. Definitely the kind of cold where you want to be like John Candy in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when he gets his hands locked behind the car and he's driving with his legs, because you don't want to touch the steering wheel. That is how cold it is right now. So again, Eric, I think you're with me on this one. If you don't have to go anywhere today,
stay home.
Just stay home.
Just stay home.
Just better that way.
Yeah, it's just downright cold. Just stay in, drink the hot chocolate, and keep it tuned here to News 8. Why not?
That's right.
And here's a look at the advisory map right now. We do have the blizzard warnings in effect for the areas shaded in orange. The winter storm warning is in effect for our southern zones. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Nice over third, by the way. Thank you. In all seriousness, so we do have that blizzard warning and severe winter storm warning in effect until tomorrow at 6 a.m. Now, the snow's done. That's the good news. The snow is done. The big story is going to be that dangerous, cold wind chill. Look at this. It's down to 36 below zero right now in La Crosse. Our air temperature is 10 below. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 22 miles per hour, gusting as high as 29 miles per hour. At the top of the hour, we're seeing temperatures well below zero. Viroqua, good morning to you guys. You're at 12 below, 11 below in Decorah, 13 below in Preston. That wind is really starting to ramp up, especially across our southern zones. And because of that, that feels like temperature. There you go, 41 degrees below zero in Preston, 33 below zero in Black River Falls, 37 below zero in Sparta. Now, coming up in the first warn forecast, we're going to plot out Christmas weekend. I'm going to tell you this right now. There is a little bit of relief in sight. We're going to talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Ken, over to you.
All right, thanks very much, Eric.
You bet.
Well, going hand in hand with this winter weather system, we start with some breaking news. Firefighters are on the scene of a large structure fire in downtown Spring Grove, Minnesota. News 8 Now has reported that fire started around 3 p.m. and continued for nearly 7 hours at the True Value Auto Store. What started as a small fire quickly spread as fire crews and energy companies worked together to contain the flames. Crews even shut down Highway 44, and Minnesota Energy Cooperative shut down power on the south side of town so responders could contain the flames. One local business owner says the community has never seen such a devastating fire before.
The hardware store had, I think, 6 or 7 apartments in it. So, of course, all the people that live in those apartments are people that we all know and live with here in this community. So it's a tragedy for them losing everything.
Some downtown businesses did remain open to provide community members and firefighters shelter while that fire was ongoing. Parts of Minnesota are currently being affected by a blizzard, and one of the biggest challenges Gulbranson says fire crews faced was the wind chill. As of right now, the cause of the fire is unknown. This is a developing story, and DUA will have more on the fire later today. The Sparta massage therapist charged with sexually assaulting his patients is headed to trial. As News 8 Now first reported back in July, the Monroe County District Attorney charged 30-year-old Ethan Carls with sexually assaulting 4 female clients. After our first story, 3 more women came forward. They told police Carls touched, groped, or grabbed their breasts while he worked as a contractor at Peak Performance Chiropractic. The DA charged Carls with assaulting 6 of the women. The statute of limitations on another allegation had already run out. Thursday, a judge ruled there is enough evidence to move forward to trial.
Based on the information, the complaint, I'm satisfied there is probable cause for the 3 separate transactional felonies.
The court was asking that.
Ethan Carls is free on bond. He will return to court virtually at the end of January. The state has suspended his license so he cannot work as a massage therapist. Investigators are working to determine what caused a train derailment near Oakdale. According to Canadian Pacific, the crew is okay. The train was moving at a slow speed when 5 freight cars went off the tracks. All of those cars were empty. On Thursday, it took close to 15 hours, but the power is finally back on in the Coon Valley and Chaseburg areas. Both communities lost power around midnight Thursday when a transmission line went down. According to the fire department, Xcel Energy needed a specialized piece of equipment to fix the line, and it took time for that equipment to arrive. A crew of about 20 worked to restore power, came back on around 3 on Thursday afternoon. During the outage, the sheriff-elect says people did a great job of looking out for one another.
Appreciate the community coming together, check on your neighbors, see how they're doing, and if you don't have to travel and you can stay home, please do so.
Vernon County Emergency Management and the Sheriff's Department also work together to keep those community members safe. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers declared an energy emergency on Thursday. Several places statewide have experienced power outages related to the recent snowfall, frigid temperatures, and strong winds. The weather's also slowing down the shipment of liquid fuels, which are needed for heating homes. According to the governor's office, this executive order will help eliminate barriers to energy emergency responders and to the delivery of fuel products. We now know the name of the driver killed in a rollover crash Wednesday night near Eau Claire. 30-year-old Samantha Minks died at the hospital after being ejected from her vehicle. According to the State Patrol, Minks lost control, her truck rolled, and she was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from the vehicle. A 3-year-old was also in the truck. That child was in a car seat and was not injured. By now, you already know how you can help. The best thing to do is to stay off the road if you can help it, but not everyone is free to take that advice. Talia Mohildin joined police on a ride-along and shares how they tackle a day when storms come to Wisconsin.
The roads may be snow-covered, but Lieutenant Dustin Fairman says as long as people use common sense, we can manage.
It seems like at least the cars behind me are agreeing with me that it's not worth the danger to try to pass me when I'm doing 54 miles per hour.
He says it helps that many schools and businesses have closed for the day, and most people have heeded the warning. Stay off the roads.
So we've had a handful of vehicle slide-offs this morning, but nothing, no crashes.
But Lieutenant Fairman knows that could change at any moment, so they stay prepared. On days like today, when there aren't too many calls to respond to, officers try to stay ahead of any potential mishaps by constantly evaluating road conditions.
Just so I can get a feel of what I'm going to expect. So if I have an emergency vehicle response on the highway here in 15 minutes, I know what to expect.
And while there were no calls for service on this ride-along,
would you say you've had to push your fair share of cars?
Yes, I would say my fair share.
In his almost 15 years on the force, Lieutenant Fairman has responded to more than a few hectic incidents in the snow.
I will always try to do what I can, and most of the time that is just to get the roadway clear.
In Verona, Tahlil Muhaddin, News 3 Now.
Lieutenant Fairman says speed is a key factor in roughly 90% of crashes and slide-offs. Inattentive driving and poor tire condition can also play a role. And of course, not everyone can stay home during the storm. A Wisconsin plow driver made some adjustments to help his team during the busy workday. Catherine Merck went out on the road with him.
Here in Prairie du Sac, it's all hands on deck. They have all their plows and all their crews out on the streets, making sure the roads are clear for people like you. But for these crews, it means making some sacrifices. For one of these drivers, his special day took a little bit of a detour with this winter storm. These snowplow crews know that winter storm days mean lots of time thinking about clearing the roads.
Obviously, it's a snow emergency or a storm emergency. It's however long it takes. That could be 12 hours, it could be a couple hours.
For Dylan Shaker, that means a lot less time thinking about himself.
Today is my birthday. The boss called me last night and asked if I could come in. Absolutely. I don't want to leave the crew or my teammates out to dry, so if they're gonna work, I'm gonna work.
These drivers are pretty patient and professional.
The Director of Public Works and Utilities says this is just the beginning of long days for plow crews. High winds and cold temperatures are making the usual strategies to get the snow off the roads more difficult.
Even this truck here, full of salt, you know, these roads with it froze down the way it is, that truck can slide all over.
The truck can kind of slide through intersections at times if you're not careful.
On the day he's celebrating his 29th year, Dylan's spending lots of time thinking about the best parts of the job.
Growing up as a kid, you always wanted to play with big trucks, and now I get to do it every day. so it's pretty fun.
He's still mostly thinking about the parts that don't involve himself.
I'm very fortunate to have the crew that I do and get to work with them.
And of course, this isn't the end of the winter storm. We have an alert day in the forecast until Saturday. Eric's going to be back with us in a few minutes with more details. It is now 6:09 a.m. on this Friday, December 23rd. Still ahead on your morning news, Target recalling a popular blanket that's been selling for years. And Minnesota Vikings fans, they're now experiencing some economic factors they don't usually experience this time of year. We'll have those details. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. You're at a holiday party with delicious appetizers and desserts, and you'd like to take home a few, but you don't know if it would be appropriate. Well, this might be the answer. Hefty has just unveiled the Snack Scarf. The household products maker calls this the perfect way to keep you warm and also secretly fill your scarf with your favorite party foods to take home. Hefty says the scarf retails for less than $3 each. Or you could go to a holiday party where it's acceptable to maybe be taking home some Tupperware full of stuff. I know my grandma's totally cool with it. We get goodie bags when we go home from our family party. Don't go anywhere. More News 8 Now this morning is coming up after the break.
All right, here's a live look at the road conditions, or the latest map, I should say. The majority of the roads are they have slippery stretches. Now, if you go across portions of Minnesota over towards the Mankato area, you see these areas in red. That's where we have closed roads. So if you have travel plans and they take you over towards the Mankato area, please allow yourself extra time to get to your destination and check with your respective DOTs before you hit the road. Now, bringing it closer to home, the majority of us still under that blizzard warning in effect until tomorrow at 6 a.m. Winter storm warning is in effect for our southern zones. Again, all these expire tomorrow at 6 a.m. It's a chilly start to your Friday. You don't need me to tell you that. Look at that temperature, 10 degrees below zero. Feels like 36 below zero. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 22 miles per hour, gusting as high as 29 miles per hour. Everybody in the News 8 Now viewing area is below zero in terms of temperature, and that feels like temperature, oh yeah, between 28 to 41 degrees below zero. So the bottom line, if you have to go out tonight or today, make sure you bundle up. Ken, over to you.
Thanks very much, Eric. In consumer news this morning, an important recall involving children's weighted blankets. Target is recalling 204,000 Pillow Fort blankets after 2 children suffocated. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the children died after reportedly becoming trapped inside the cover, which unzips. The blankets were sold in stores and online from December 2018 through September of 2022. Meanwhile, Samsung is recalling more than 600,000 washing machines over concerns that they can short-circuit and overheat, posing a fire hazard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says owners should immediately stop use of the machines until the software is updated. They're washing machines that were bought from June 21 through December of this year. More information on the specific recalled model numbers and software updates can be found on Samsung's and the CPSC's website. Companies are apparently not feeling the holiday spirit and are giving less when it comes to holiday bonuses this year. The outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas released data from the survey of 252 employers Thursday. 81% said they would keep it the same amount as last year, and nearly 27% said they would not give a bonus at all. Experts say companies have become more concerned about a possible economic recession or slowdown. However, the labor market is still incredibly strong, with more jobs available than workers to fill them. Christmas came a little early for Vikings fans last weekend. The team clinched the NFC North, much to the chagrin of Packer Nation, with the biggest comeback in NFL history, going back from down 33 at the half against the Colts, coming all the way back to win. So now Minnesota is guaranteed to host a playoff game at US Bank Stadium next month, and prices for those seats are already sky high.
Right-footed kick, it is good!
Immediately after that winning kick, fans swarmed this Fans HQ store in Ridgedale Mall.
It's just been insane here since the game. Even like during the game, we had crowds gathering in front of the store to watch the TVs that we had there.
There was a similar frenzy at Ticket King.
After that win, our website was just pounded with playoff requests.
Right now, one ticket in the upper deck for the January 15th wildcard game will set you back more than $200. Lower level seats, at least $1,000.
One thing the folks at Ticket King really want you to know is if somebody offers to sell you a paper ticket, whether it's over the phone or maybe in person, you should know it's a scam.
As you know, the value of tickets goes up, more scam artists come out of the woodwork.
Michael Nowakowski has been reselling Vikings tickets for 30 years.
And if they're lucky enough to get the NFC Championship game, then it becomes a national event where, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if it's $500 or $600 just to get in the door.
But he says he doesn't want to get ahead of himself. Out at the Fans HQ store, this Vikings sweatshirt is a bestseller. On the front, the words, "Cautiously Optimistic." In Minnetonka, Esme Murphy, WCCO 4 News.
All right, here's a look at your forecast as we head into Christmas Day. Right now, I'm looking at mostly sunny skies with a temperature of 8 degrees. Feels like temperatures still well below zero no matter how you slice and dice it. So let's go ahead and talk about the alert days for today going into tomorrow. So the wind chill is going to remain well below zero. Blowing snow will linger throughout the day today and tomorrow morning. Now this trend will continue throughout the Christmas weekend. If you have any travel plans, like I said, make sure you check with the DOT to make sure you can get from point A to point B, especially if you're going into Minnesota, as some of the roads are closed at this hour. We have mostly cloudy skies outside. We have a temperature right now of 10 degrees below zero with winds out of the west-northwest at 22 miles per hour. It feels like 36 degrees below zero out there. In Eau Claire, good morning to you guys. You're at 12 below zero with a feels like temperature of 35 degrees below zero. Winds are out of the west at 15 miles per hour. Everybody in the News 8 Now viewing area is seeing temperatures well below zero, 10 below in La Crosse, 11 below in Sparta, 11 below Black River Falls. Viroqua, good morning to you guys. You're at 12 below, 9 below is the current temperature in Boscobel. But again, you factor in that wind, and it's starting to pick up at this hour. It feels like 33 degrees below zero in Black River Falls, 37 degrees below zero in Sparta, 31 degrees below zero in Decorah, 42 degrees below zero in Preston. So the radar scan right now, we have a clean sweep across the area. This is going to get a break as we go into the next couple days. We're on the back end of that low pressure system. All that snow is now pushing its way into the New England states, so we're just going to be left with the winds out of the north and northwest for today, and that's what's going to keep us chilly. Matter of fact, take a look at your temperature trend for today. The top number is your air temperature. The bottom number is your feels like temperature. So by 9 o'clock, we'll go to 7 below with a feels like temperature of 31 degrees below zero. As we go into your evening hours, we'll go to 2 with a feels like temperature of 21 degrees below zero. So no matter how you slice and dice it, definitely bundle up. Now, in terms of the next hour, we'll see temperatures staying between 9 to 11 degrees below zero. Viroqua, you'll go to 12 degrees below zero. But again, that feels like temperature staying between 31 to 40 degrees below zero. So what about tomorrow? Hey, tomorrow's Christmas Eve. So we start the day off with a temperature of 0 by the 8 o'clock hour. We'll go to about 5-6 degrees by the afternoon hours. Then we go down to 3 by the 8 o'clock hour. We will see partly cloudy skies. The wind will continue to be in play, which is why we have the alert day because of the dangerous wind chill. By Sunday, we start to warm up. We go to 8 degrees. And then by the second half of the work week, look at this. We see temperatures going back above normal. As a matter of fact, the next 8 days, we see temperatures around 8 for Christmas Day. We go to 14 on Monday, 22, the double deuces on Tuesday. Then we warm up. We go to 36 for Wednesday. How about 40s for Thursday? Going into Friday, Thursday, have a 20% chance of rain. Friday, we'll go to 41 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. That does it for now. We'll be back in a few minutes. But first, here's a look at this day in history. As you're heading out the door, it is a chilly start to your Friday. We're at 10 degrees below zero in La Crosse. It feels like 36 degrees outside with winds out of the west-northwest at 22 miles per hour. Speaking of Frosty the Snowman, if you have plans to go out and build a snowman today, it's just downright cold. Wait till we get to about the first part of next week when the snow's still there and it's kind of warm. 12 degrees below zero in Eau Claire, 35 degrees below zero. It feels like temperature. Winds are out of the west at 15 miles per hour. Temperatures across the area, everybody is well below zero. Some places say feels like temperatures between 35 to 40 degrees below zero. I have more weather coming up in a few minutes. Rob Schiff, take it away, buddy.
Welcome to the Blitz. Well, it took a couple of months, but Green Bay has found a diamond in the rough when it comes to Keyshawn Nixon, especially on special teams. And the first-year Packer has been instrumental over the last few weeks, getting this team back into the playoff hunt. Nixon burst onto the scene back in Week 10 against the Cowboys, and over the last 5 games, the 25-year-old is averaging over 15 yards per punt return. That's good enough for second in the NFL. When it comes to kickoff returns, Nixon has excelled in that department as well, averaging over 25 yards per return on 28 attempts, and his ability was on full display Monday night against the Rams. Nixon averaging 18 yards on a pair of punt returns, and then late in the third quarter, it was Nixon doing what he does best, 52-yard return into Rams territory. He's been a catalyst for this Packers squad over the last month, even drawing some attention and praise from the 4-time MVP.
You know, he's a guy I wish I could have played a decade with, because you can win with guys like that. Smart guys who are mentally and physically tough, who play with an edge, play with an attitude. He's a bulldog. He's tough all the time. He plays strong. We love having guys out there who compete like that, and he does it every single day. It's like, hey, where's this guy been all year? Well, he's been right there.
The Hardwood now. Gophers looking to get back to 500, taking on Chicago State. First half off the steal. Minnesota on the move. Jaden Henley to the hole. Count it, +1. Gophers go up 7. Later in the half, the home team cruising. The Gophers add some more here. Nice cross-court pass to Jamison Battle for 3. Minnesota up 8 at the half. Cougars rally though in the second half. Chicago State ties the game on this 3 from Jashawn Corbett. But the Gophers battle back. Dawson Garcia with the strong drive here. Banks it off the window. Gophers hang on and win their second straight, 58-55. Viterbo Cross Country head coach Don Fritsch has announced his retirement. Over the last 6 years, Fritsch led the men's and women's cross country teams, as well as serving as the director of distance for the men's and women's track and field teams. Prior to joining the V-Hawks, Fritsch spent 14 years as the head coach for the UWL men's cross country team, leading the Eagles to 8 conference titles and 2 NCAA Division III national championships. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Welcome back. The time is 6:30 a.m. on this Friday morning. U.S. lawmakers are expected to avoid a shutdown of the federal government. Today, with just hours to spare, the House is expected to approve a budget for the rest of the fiscal year. How long it takes to vote on that measure, though, could come down to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Members in both parties say he might be giving a lengthy floor speech. But, as Amy Kiley reports, lawmakers are optimistic about having funding in place.
I am so proud of my colleagues, every single one of them.
The U.S. is poised to get a new omnibus budget, the House taking up the $1.7 trillion packet. That's after the Senate passed it with bipartisan support yesterday.
It is the outcome that our country actually needs.
The bill funds the federal government through next September. That's when the fiscal year ends. For months, Congress has been using stopgap plans to keep the government operating. In fact, it's relying on one now. A second bill is to give clerks a week to prepare the broader legislation for President Joe Biden to sign.
And I say this about my colleagues, their unity was miraculous.
The omnibus includes a provision aimed at making it harder to overturn a certified presidential election. It also includes about $45 billion in emergency assistance for NATO allies and Ukraine. That's even though some Republicans have begun to balk at the cost of the war.
We don't want to have Afghanistan 2.0.
There's no accountability whatsoever. We have spent more on Ukraine than all of the Europeans put together.
The scramble to fund the government sending lawmakers home for the holidays later than originally planned.
I hope this Christmas season marks a fresh start for our nation.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
In medical news, it's related to this winter weather. When it is cold, there is a chance that you can get frostbite or hypothermia. Mayo Clinic Health System doctors say you should know the symptoms. The first, cold skin and a prickly feeling in your extremities. That's followed by numbness, discolored skin, hard or waxy looking skin, clumsiness, and blistering after you get warmed back up. If you believe you have frostbite, doctors say be careful running your hands or feet under hot water.
You don't want it to be too warm. So if you have early frostbite, a lot of times you don't have good sensation in your fingers or your toes, whatever it is. And so you can actually burn yourself if the water's too warm. So you want to shoot for water that's just, 98 or so or above room temperature.
If you or someone you know is experiencing any of these symptoms on your screen, be sure to call 911 right away. The Coulee region voted on dozens of school referendums in the November election, asking voters to approve a property tax levy increase to update school infrastructure, or in some cases, build an entirely new school. Well, residents in Greene County say they feel they were lied to about their school referendum. As Naomi Coles details, the proof is in their latest property tax bills.
Back in September, then they knew the impact was going to be this.
Many people put their money where their mouth is when local schools ask them for it, by way of referendum.
I support the overall school district.
Most voters, not Larry and Dale here, voted yes when the Monroe School District asked them for $88 million to build a new high school in November. But several weeks later, it's not just them feeling lied to.
There are a lot of people upset about it.
There was a clear misrepresentation.
Advertising for the referendum appeared to say that they would only pay an extra $13 per 100,000 in home value. But when residents everywhere opened their tax bills several weeks later,
when I looked at the school expecting a $39 increase, my property taxes were affected by $677 total. Just for that school referendum.
On their website, the school tried to explain. It's complex, but boiling it down, that $13 per 100K only applied to 2021 home value. If your home went up in value, as nearly all did, the increase in value would be taxed at a far higher rate, or the full mill rate of $9.33 per $1,000. For the average owner of a $200,000 or $300,000 home, that's hundreds of dollars extra.
For some of these single families, retired, limited income people, that's a big chunk of change.
It's hundreds of dollars that voters didn't expect.
I feel we were misled, and I think they knew behind the scenes that this increase was going to affect the vote, so they didn't let us know the total increase impact. I just wish they'd have been upfront about it.
In other news around the state, Fort McCoy will receive $64 million in infrastructure updates as part of Congress's latest national defense spending bill. Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin says $38 million will be used to improve enlisted barracks and $26 million for officer barracks. Baldwin says some of those buildings are falling into disrepair, and as a premier cold weather training site, she says the updates are needed.
These new accommodations will provide permanently constructed barracks and buildings to house about 400 soldiers and about 160 officers during their annual trainings and mobilizations.
Senator Baldwin says she expects work to begin in the new year. Last night's storm forced some mail trucks off the road, but as Dua Esrar found out, local postal workers say they will catch up before Christmas.
My Friday mail today would be $12.75.
Most of us have been there before.
Just ship something out on Christmas Eve. It's not getting there by Christmas.
Waiting until the last moment to get the job done.
I'll probably get there Tuesday.
That's fine.
No matter how big or how small the package may be.
Dropping off a package to my aunt and uncle in Oregon.
It may take a while to arrive.
We're short-staffed and we've got a lot of work to do.
Mother Nature is also to blame.
It's the cold. It's the cold is the challenge today.
If you were expecting a package to be delivered Thursday, it may take the postal workers a few extra hours to get to your mailbox.
They'll be a little bit slower because they'll need to warm up at times. Take more breaks.
Packages arriving in mailboxes today arrived in La Crosse before Wednesday's storm. Many others never made it across state lines.
We have a lot of stuff didn't show up because it comes down from the cities and the weather delayed it.
If you're concerned about your package's arrival,
I hope it gets there before Christmas is over.
Post office staff say there's no reason to worry.
They'll get them tomorrow. It's just something we have to deal with the weather.
Reporting in La Crosse, Dua Esrar, News 8 Now.
Thank you, Dua. The last day for Priority Mail Express shipping is today. And those packages will arrive on Christmas Eve. You know, our pets are just as sensitive to cold temperatures as we are. The experts over at Coulee Region Humane Society have a few tips for us. You can still take your pets for walks in colder temperatures, but keep them short. It's better to take shorter walks more often than take one long walk. And when you get back home, check your dog's paws for salt and warm them up if you can. Although pets have fur, that doesn't mean they're immune to the cold weather.
They can, withstand the cold temperatures. Huskies are double coated, but it's that wind that can still cause frostbite. If it's too cold for us, it's too cold for them.
And don't forget to check on that livestock. Humane officers suggest to give them about 25% more food than you usually do, because when those animals are shivering, they're actually burning calories. One local celebrity is raising money for the Salvation Army and awareness about his species. Brutus the mini pig and his mom volunteered to ring bells on Thursday at Blaine's Farm and Fleet in Onalaska. Well, Brutus didn't actually ring bells, but he did honk his horns. Brutus is a therapy pig, and he visits with residents at area nursing homes in the VA and with kids all over the Coulee region. In addition to raising money for charity, Brutus's mom says he's a good ambassador for pigs and a lot of fun.
Making someone's day, they're not expecting to see this, and it's just something different that you're not expecting, and it kind of makes you forget about everything else going on in your, in your life, and it's just, even if it's just a minute.
Brutus shares his Monroe County home with his 9 pig brothers and sisters. They are all rescue pigs, and you can follow Brutus the Mini Pig on Facebook and Instagram. Well, hey, you are running out of time to see Kris Kringle in person. Santa Claus and his reindeer have been enjoying their stay in La Crosse since November 25th. They visited with a lot of different families down at Rotary Lights in Riverside Park, and Santa says he's had a wonderful time meeting people from all over the world.
It's amazing how far people travel to come to Rotary Lights to see the displays and the visit with me. And the other night, I had a family came all the way from Japan.
Santa and his reindeer, of course, need to leave in time to give gifts to kids on Christmas Day, so their last day at Riverside Park is today.
TGIF, and it is a chilly start to the weekend. No matter how you slice and dice it, we are seeing temperatures between 9 degrees below and 13 degrees below zero, depending on your location. But that feels like temperature. Look at that, down to 37 below zero in Sparta as well as Volk Field, 40 below in Marshfield, 30 below in Ladysmith, 35 below in Eau Claire, 31 below is the current feels like temperature in Winona. As we take a look here at Viroqua, 36 below zero, over towards the Decorah area, 34 degrees below zero is your feels like temperature. Now the radar scan showing a clean sweep across the area, and this is going to get a break as we go into tomorrow. And for the most part, Christmas Day. When we get into the evening and overnight hours of Christmas, I'm not going to rule out a snow chance in the forecast. It's a very small snow chance. So your look ahead, we'll see temperatures going well below zero. That feels like temperature is going to stay below zero as well. Some places seeing feels like temperatures between 35 to 40 degrees below zero. More weather coming up in a few minutes. Ken, over to you.
Thanks very much, Eric. Time is now 6:41 a.m. on this Friday. Coming up in your Buzz Report, the cast of That 70s Show.
All right, welcome back. Here's a sneak peek of your Christmas Day forecast. We'll see mostly sunny skies. We'll only see a high of 8 degrees, but again, that feels like temperature is going to stay well below zero. So take a look at the alert day criteria for today, or the details, I should say. First of all, today going into tomorrow, that's when we have the alert days. The wind chill is going to stay well below zero with blowing snow lingering around, and this trend is going to continue as we go throughout the Christmas weekend. Outside right now, we have cloudy skies. We have a temperature at the airport of 10 degrees below zero. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 22 miles per hour. It feels like 36 degrees below zero in Eau Claire. Good morning to you guys. Your temperature is 12 degrees below zero. It feels like 35 degrees below zero with winds out of the west at 15 miles per hour. Everybody in the News 8 Now viewing area is below zero. We're down to 14 below zero in Marshfield, 11 below in Black River Falls, 12 below in Eau Claire, 9 below in Winona, 13 below in Preston, 11 below in Decorah. But again, that wind is starting to pick up, so it feels anywhere between 30 degrees below zero to even 41 degrees below zero, depending on your location. Now we have a clean sweep on the radar scan, and this is going to get a break for a while. We're on the back end of that low pressure system. The snow, for the most part, is out of here. Maybe a stray shower or two, not out of the question with this little guy up here, but that's really about it. Otherwise, we're going to stay partly to mostly cloudy. We'll see temperatures staying below 0 till we get into the afternoon and early evening hours. We'll see a temperature of 9 below by 9 a.m. You can see the wind really starting to kick up. By noon, we go to 3 degrees below 0. As we take a look at the evening hours, we start to warm up. We get above 0 by the 7 o'clock hour. 2 is the temperature by 9. Then by the 10 o'clock hour, we'll see that temperature of 1 degree above 0. So for the next hour, we'll see temperatures staying well below 0 in terms of temperature. That feels like temperature, though, is going to stay well below 0. So the bottom line, like I said, no matter how you slice and dice it, definitely bundle up and use extra time to get from point A to point B. In terms of tomorrow, we're going to see temperatures right around 5-6 degrees by the afternoon hours. We'll go to 4 by the 6 o'clock hour, 3 by the 8 o'clock hour. The weekend, tomorrow, we have that high of 5 with partly cloudy skies with the wind in play and the feels like temperature staying well below 0. That's why we have the alert day. By Sunday, we go to 8 degrees. And the good news, if you're tired of this cold weather, look at this. Above normal conditions are in the forecast. The next 6 to 10 days, we'll see temperatures going well above normal. So we should be seeing temperatures right around 40, 41 degrees, which is what I have in the 8th day. All right, so let's go ahead and break out the next 8 days. So we have the alert day for today and tomorrow with the dangerous wind chills being in play. Let's go ahead and talk about the weekend. Saturday, we go to 5. Sunday, we go to 8. We have partly cloudy skies and breezy conditions for Saturday. Sunday, we have mostly sunny skies. The remainder of the 8th day, we go to 14 for Monday. The double deuce is 22 for Tuesday. 30s and 40s will be the rule for Wednesday through Friday. Wednesday, will go to 36, 40 for Thursday, 41 for Friday. I got a feeling the car washes next Friday, Ken, will be packed.
I hear that, Eric. Thanks so much. In your Buzz Report this morning, we start off with a sneak peek in Netflix's That 90s Show.
Welcome back to Chess Fest. It's always an honor to have your hair in my chair.
Fez and the rest of That 70s Show gang are back in Netflix's new sequel series, That 90s Show. The comedy follows the kids of the original characters as they get up to the same basement shenanigans in a new decade. It premieres January 19th. Time is now 6:48 a.m. Let's head to break with today's Look Who's 8. Eric?
All right, happy 8th birthday to Cameron. Cameron loves science, animals, crafts, and hey, my favorite thing, watching News 8 with her dad.
Awesome.
Happy birthday, Cameron.
Absolutely, and thanks for submitting, Dad. If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we would love to feature them.
Hey, do us a favor, just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
We can make it nice and easy for you. Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your morning news now, coming up next. Time for your morning news now. Some breaking news. Firefighters responded to a large structure on fire in Spring Grove, Minnesota. News 8 Now was on the scene and reported that the fire took place at the True Value Auto Store in downtown Spring Grove. What started as a small fire quickly spread as fire crews and energy companies worked together to contain the flames. A local business owner says there were apartments above the hardware store, and the community has never seen such a devastating fire before.
The hardware store had, I think, 6 or 7 apartments in it. So of course, all the people that live in those apartments are people that we all know and live with here in this community. So it's a tragedy for them losing everything.
Some downtown businesses did remain open to provide community members and firefighters some shelter while the fire was ongoing. Parts of Minnesota, of course, currently being affected by a blizzard, and one of the biggest challenges Gulbranson says fire crews faced was the wind chill. As of right now, the cause of the fire is unknown. This is a developing story, and Dua Israr will have more on the fire later today. Investigators are working to determine what caused a train derailment near Oakdale. According to Canadian Pacific, the crew is okay. The train was moving at a slow speed when 5 freight cars went off the tracks. All of the cars were empty. You know, our pets are just as sensitive to cold temperatures as we are. The experts at Coulee Region Humane Society have a few tips for us. You can still take your pets for walks in colder temperatures, but keep them short. It's better to take shorter walks more often than take one long walk. And when you get back home, check your dog's paws for some salt and warm them up if you can. Although pets have fur, it doesn't mean they're immune to cold weather.
They can, withstand the cold temperatures. Huskies are double coated, but it's that wind that can still cause frostbite. If it's too cold for us, it's too cold for them.
And don't forget to check on the livestock. Humane officers suggest give them about 25% more food than you usually do, because when those animals are shivering, they're actually burning calories. A local celebrity is raising money for the Salvation Army and awareness about his species. Brutus the mini pig and his mom volunteered to ring bells on Thursday at Blaine's Farm and Fleet in Onalaska. Well, Brutus didn't ring bells, he honked his horns. Brutus is a therapy pig. He visits with residents at area nursing homes, the VA, and with kids all over the Coulee region. In addition to raising money for charity, Brutus's mom says he's a good ambassador for pigs and a lot of fun.
Making someone's day, they're not expecting to see this, and it's just something different that you're not expecting, and it kind of makes you forget about everything else going on in your, in your life, and it's just, even if it's just a minute.
And Brutus shares his Monroe County home with his rescue pig siblings. Hey, you are running out of time to see Kris Kringle in person. Santa Claus and his reindeer have been enjoying their stay in La Crosse since November 25th. They have visited with a lot of different families down at Rotary Lights in Riverside Park, and Santa says he's had a wonderful time meeting people not just from La Crosse, but all around the world.
It's amazing how far people travel to come to Rotary Lights to see the displays and to visit with me. And the other night, I had a family came all the way from Japan.
Of course, Santa and his reindeer need to leave in time to give gifts to kids on Christmas Day, so their last day at Riverside Park is today.
And I want to address this too. I did have a talk with Santa. You and I are both on the nice list. Oh, so yeah. Take a look at your forecast for the weekend. We'll see a high of 5 tomorrow. We do have the alert day in play as dangerous wind chills are still in the forecast. We'll go to 8 for Sunday. The next 8 days, we have temperatures going into the 20s till we get into next week. Then we start to see temperatures going back into the 30s, even low 40s by this time next week. So the bottom line, my car needs washed.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to at the end of next week for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, in the meantime, of course, this weekend is a big weekend. Derek's not here to discuss this with us, but Packers are playing the Dolphins this weekend in NFL football.
That's why he took off today.
I think so, because I think he's nervous.
Pre-gaming for that.
So we are going to have a little bit of a bet, if you will, coming up Monday. I assume Derek's back on Monday?
Well,
hopefully, he better be.
If they win, he won't.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, the winner of that NFL game, so let's say the Packers win, let's manifest that. I'm going to make Derek wear some Green Bay Packer overalls on camera, and I think Derek, in the weird chance that the Packers lose that game.
A Tua jersey?
I think a Tua jersey. So we all want to see Derek in Green Bay Packer overalls, right? We don't
Absolutely.
We don't want to see me in a Dolphins jersey.
Get him a cheesehead too while you're at it.
I think we've got one.
We've got one right there. Monday morning, Sibley.
It's going to look darn good.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Eric, and have a great rest of your day and a fantastic holiday weekend.
Any way to roast Derek on air?